Although this week's parsha is named Pinchas, after one of the most troubling stories in the Torah, it also includes a short narrative that has been important and inspiring to me for many years, and that's where I want to focus our attention this Shabbat. In this parsha, we've arrived at a crucial moment in our long, complicated journey through the wilderness. A new census is taken, parallel to the counting at the beginning of the journey from Sinai, which is also the beginning of the book of Bamidbar, the book of In the Wilderness. Now, in the plains of Moab, on the threshold of the promised land, this new numbering of the people makes us realize that what had been decreed by God 38 years before, when the returning scouts led the people to be overwhelmed by their anxiety and doubt, has now come about. That entire generation of men, with the exception of Caleb and Joshua, has died in the wilderness, and the journey will be completed by their descendants. Now, looking to the future, the new generation must be counted, because they're getting ready to enter the land, which will be divided among them according to the size of each clan group. Once again, the important men are mentioned by name, tribe by tribe, clan by clan. But this time something new, even astonishing, happens. As readers of Tanakh, we're accustomed to hearing lots of male names, reflecting a focus on men as the central characters. But in this census of the new generation, about to reach, finally, the goal of Israel's difficult journey, we hear several women's names. The well-known Yocheved and Miriam from the founding generation, and the less noticed Serach, the daughter of Asher, whose mention among the children of Israel going down to Egypt and apparent presence among those about to enter the land of Israel is noticed and beautifully interpreted in rabbinic midrash, a subject for another Dvar Torah. But we also hear a cluster of women's names, names which will be repeated in these final chapters of Sefer Bamidbar 3 times: Machla, Noah, Chogla, Milka, and Tirza, the daughters of Tzelofchad from the tribe of Menashe. The Torah, in its summary of the census, calls our attention to this generational shift. These are the persons enrolled by Moses and Eleazar the priest, who registered the Israelites on the plains of Moab at the Jordan near Jericho. Among these was not one of those enrolled by Moses and Aaron the priest, who has himself now died, when they recorded the Israelites in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had said of them, "They shall die in the wilderness." Not one of them survived, except Caleb, son of Yefuneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. But immediately juxtaposed to this statement, the Torah shifts to the daughters of Tzlofchad, naming all 5 of them again, and their ancestry all the way back to their great-great-great-great-grandfather Joseph. They move into the foreground, taking their stand before Moses, Eleazar the high priest, and all the leaders to ask a poignant question. Our father died in the wilderness and left no sons. Why should our father's name be lost to his clan just because he had no sons? They begin with an expression of filial piety and allegiance to the ancestry from which they come, but they follow powerfully with a claim that resonates to this very day. Tana lanu achuzah betoch ache avinu. Give us a heritage, achuzah. Share with us ground to stand on within the heritage of our ancestors. Moses understands this as a question of justice. We're told that he brings their mishpat, their case, before God. We too can join in their demand for full inclusion, for recognition of their need to share as equals in the resources and ongoing life of the community as it applies to all of us as Jews and to all the members of the community to which we belong as Americans. When we recognize ourselves in the voices of Machla, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirzah, God's response resounds directly to our minds, our hearts, our souls. Ken benot Tzlofchad dovrot. Rightly the daughters of Tzlofchad speak. They speak rightly, or as Rashi explains, their words are, from God's point of view, firmly established, well grounded. Rashi even goes so far as to say that they saw what Moses could not see. At this point, the Torah records a change in the law of inheritance and a change in the Torah itself, in the inherited law through the insight of these women. Although it is in fact a limited, circumscribed legal change, the rabbis of the Talmud and Midrash were extravagant in their praise of these women, perhaps because they too were in search of openings for change and development that would give the Torah continuing life for the Jewish people. The Talmud in tractate Baba Batra declares, Tzadkaniot hen, they are righteous. Chochmaniot hen, they are full of wisdom. Darshaniot hen, they are insightful interpreters of Torah. In one of the oldest classic midrashim, Sifrei Bamidbar, the rabbis recreate the conversation among the women that led them to stand up before all the significant leaders. When the daughters of Tzlofchad heard that the land was to be apportioned to the tribes, but not to females, they gathered together to take counsel, saying, not like the mercies, rachamim, of flesh and blood, are the mercies of God. Human mercies are greater for males than for females. Not so the mercies of the one who spoke and brought the world into being. God's mercies are for males and females equally. God's mercies are for all, as it is written in Psalm 145, which we all know well. Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav. The Lord is good to all, and God's mercies are upon all God's creations. In this midrash, the rabbis imagine the women turning to interpretation of Torah to establish the justice of their claim in a thoroughly rabbinic mode. They ground themselves in their knowledge and commitment to Torah. But it is essential that they find within themselves the capacity to be darshaniot, creative, insightful interpreters of Torah, people who doresh, who look deeply into Torah and find sources of life and truth for each living generation. They work to make the Torah truly a Torat Chaim, a Torah of life. Rashi says of them, happy is the person with whose words the Holy Blessed One agrees. My blessing for us is that we continue in the holy work of Benot Tzlofchad, building our Torah of Chesed and Chaim, love and life. Shabbat Shalom.